showings, the staging, the repairs, and having strangers throughout your home. Call me today and let's get your home sold stress-free.
Channel 3 School Patrol with David Carroll. Coverage you can count on.
If you are in the market to buy a home, no doubt you're watching the market closely. Word out there of possible inflation, interest rates going up. It can be a tricky time, I guess, to know whether you should or should not make that commitment to buy a home. The perfect time for us to check in with Bruce Dodd at People's Home Equity. And I have a hunch, I'll go ahead and make a bet, that he's going to say it's always a good time to buy a home. Good to see you.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
So Charlotte Mabry was on with us earlier this week, and she was kind of explaining this evolution of the housing crunch, if you will, shortage, and how there were fewer and fewer homes built, almost by like 40% over the last several years. And that just cumulatively added up to this effect. So if you're looking to buy a house, what you're buying truly is a commodity that you can't duplicate.
That's right. That's right. And you know, it doesn't look like there's nothing on the horizon that would indicate that there's all kinds of building going on. So I think this is a situation we're going to be faced with for a while.
So you were wanting to talk about this buzz out there. You hear it on the media all the time about the possibility of, are we heading towards an inflation? What's going to happen to interest rates? Does that have people frozen? Or does it have them more incentivized to go ahead and buy?
Well, to a degree, I think it's almost a little bit of neither. You have a lot of folks who have been very active in the market and are actively seeking homes. You have other folks that have been, trying to determine sort of at what point does it make sense for them to do that. I think when people are looking at are there going to be higher interest rates? The answer is, when you're been at a historic low, it's called a historic low for a reason. At some point, things go up. They don't stay at historic lows or at historic highs forever. I think when politics aside, and because I'm just not a political person, but when you have government spending historic amounts of money, that typically is going to indicate that you're going to see some inflation. Now, there's an argument over whether it's transitory or it's whatever it is. However, you look, things right now are costing more. There are shortages in some industries of labor, which is causing companies to have to pay more. That means the price of their goods and services go up. So I think you're going to see a general increase in a lot of things. Now, how will that bleed over to interest rates? It's certainly going to have an impact in terms of exactly how much, at what point. If we knew that, nobody would really need a mortgage. You could just go make some bets on Wall Street, and you'd never need any.
Right.
So the thing is nobody can really answer that. There's not an economist that can point to a specific period of time in history where we had the exact same set of circumstances, because it's never happened before. So I would think for most folks, you just know what you know today, and interest rates are, very, very low. They're still a little lower than they were at this point last year, and that was a historic low at that point.
Right.
So, from where we're at right now, it's a very good situation from interest rates. For those that have thought about refinancing, time's not on your side. If you've not taken action around that, you may wake up and there's no opportunity to really do that for you that would make sense. So I would encourage people, if you've not looked at that, you got to take a look at it. If you're in the process of buying a house, you're finding that it's an extremely competitive market, and you just want to be as prepared as you possibly can be.
So on the note of buying the house in the competitive market, I would think there are some buyers out there that are a bit concerned. Are they paying too much for a home? And then will the value of that home diminish once this turn occurs? But the truth is, you're going to have those comps done in the neighborhood in which you're buying, so you shouldn't lose money on the house unless you're belly up in your mortgage, right?
Well, I think could one make poor decisions on a house? Sure you could, but you're right. You're going to have, if you're getting a mortgage, paying cash, you can pay whatever you want. If you're getting a mortgage, you're going to have an appraisal that supports that, so that's going to be by comparable sales. And if you listen to what Ms. Mabry said, or we talked about at the beginning of the show, supply isn't dramatically going to increase anytime in the near future. And so if that's the case, that bodes pretty well for real estate. And when we talk about real estate values, in Chattanooga, we can look back to what happened in 2008 to 2010, which was, a recession that was triggered by real estate. And at that point, houses for the most people in Chattanooga, if they went down very, very little, amazingly walked sideways, and in some cases got a little more in value. So I think for most people, I don't think we're not in some bubble situation. We're in a situation that's driven by supply and demand.
Well, let me give people the contact information to get in touch with you, because clearly they can see that what you want to do is kind of talk to people and not make it feel like a panicked situation. So the phone number for People's Home Equity there on your screen. You can also find Bruce online at chatmortgage.com, and he loves the face-to-face conversation if you want to call and walk in and go sit across the desk.
Sounds great.
A new outfit for less than $50, Anna's Attic has it. New and slightly used name brand clothing can be yours. Perk up an outfit with a scarf,